Yeah, I mean, it's last week in Richmond was really good to get a top 10. You know, I feel like we're kind of on the cusp there. We're hanging in there. We're not doing anything spectacular, but I'm proud of the team. We're not making a lot of mistakes either. So we're kind of just hanging around, having decent finishes and running fairly well. But we definitely need to keep getting better to be one of those teams that you consider a top 10 every week, contending for the chase. But you know, I'm excited that we've been able to go out there and just not do anything to hurt ourselves. We really just had one bad race at Bristol, and everything else has been inside the top 20, top 15. So, you know, if we can just keep getting better and steadily improve, I feel like with what we've already done and kind of being right there on the edge of the top 10, you know, we can have a chance at making the chase. We just gotta be smart. We gotta just keep getting better as a race team.
Okay, we'll take questions now for AJ. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start here with Brian. State your name and who you're with, please.
Get out from behind the cameras. AJ, Brian Nelson, Motor Racing Network. Do you feel like you've got a lot of good momentum and then into the next few weeks, tracks that has historically been pretty good for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I feel like what's happening at Richard Petty Motorsports in general has been really good. You know, Lisa Brown and everybody kind of on the marketing side, bringing in new sponsors like Nautica for a race deal last week was really cool, and I know they're working on, you know, other potential sponsors to bring in new flavor to NASCAR. So I think things like that have been really good for the race team, and for us to go out there and keep running better and better has been a good thing. This weekend's going to be, you know, it's going to be a tough challenge. It's historically been not a great racetrack for me, but at the same point, this year's completely different. But like you said, you know, to go into Dover next week, I'm really pumped up for. Charlotte, we've had decent runs at times, and obviously with the All-Star break, there's a lot of stuff we can work on. So I'm excited with the upcoming schedule and what we possibly have, but at the same point, you know, we know where we need to work on, and that's on the intermediate racetracks. We got to get a lot better there to really be a contending team each week. But like you said, you know, I'm excited to. My goal was to get to the All-Star break with at least a chance inside the chase. And we have two good runs here. You know, we'll be right there. So, you know, it's been good so far.
Let's go here to Thomas. Raise your hand, Thomas.
AJ, Thomas Pope from the Fayetteville Observer. What was your first impression of this place when you came here to race, and was there anything in your background that had prepared you for it? And what's it like to try to stay focused for 400 miles here?
You know, I thought they completely messed up the design of the racetrack when I got here. I said, this possibly can't be an oval. I was like, what's going on here? It's insane to me. I mean, the racetrack is awesome, how narrow it is. You know, for me, what's exciting is honestly the history of the racetrack. I rolled in here last night, and when you roll through the gates and you pull under getting into the racetrack, just the history behind the racetrack to me is something that always excites me and excites me about NASCAR in general. Obviously, the race car that I get to drive has a huge part to do with that, but it is definitely a tough racetrack. I drove on it once before it was repaved, and it was tough, and now that it's repaved, it's tough in a different way because it's so fast. You can't make a mistake, so it's just it's a tough place. I mean, that's all you can say. There's not a lot more to describe it.
Raise your hand, Mike Embry. Back here, if we could get Mike a mic. Mike, a mic. There you go.
Thank you. Mike Embry, Speed.com. AJ, your ownership guys have talked several times about their goal of moving up to 3 teams, 4 teams relatively soon. How do you think the team's footing now is to do something like that? Are you making the kind of progress that can make that happen?
Well, I mean, I think there's always progress made, like I said, about the new sponsors that we've been able to bring in and potentially have more opportunity to bring in more sponsors is a good thing. But at the same point, you know, I feel fortunate to be 11th in points. You know, we've just been real consistent. You know, Marcus has had a lot of bad luck. The way I look at it, until we get both of those cars contending in the top 10 every week on a consistent basis, to try to think about going to 3 or 4 teams, to me, isn't very important. You know, we got to make sure our 2 cars are first fast, and then, you know, make a 3rd one fast, and then make a 4th one fast. So the ownership may see it a little bit different, but to me, it's still early. I mean, we race 9. We got to be focused on continuing to get better as a race team. You know, you don't see a lot of organizations that don't have a couple of cars already fast, add a 3rd car, and all of a sudden make everybody a lot faster. So to me, that's what our goal's got to be, is make sure that the first 2 cars are well funded and fast each weekend, and then focus on a 3rd car and then a 4th car.
Next question. Who has one? All the way in the back. Rusty.
Rusty Ball and NASCAR Media Group. If you don't mind, I'm going to ask you just to look ahead for me. Obviously, this track's tough, and then next week's the Monster Mile is pretty tough as well. Just generically, just kind of your thoughts on that track and what it's like to race at Dover.
For me, I really enjoy Dover. I mean, it's a place that I've liked as soon as I got there. Obviously it's high banked and it's fast. It's really just a fun place to drive each lap that you're on, and relatively we've had really fast race cars there. So I was excited. We did the Goodyear tire test there, and it went really well. So for me, I'm trying to get through Darlington and have a good run and hopefully be consistent here and keep ourselves up in the points. And then I'm really looking forward to Dover.
Any other questions? David, raise your hand there. Go ahead.
David Caravella, NASCAR.com. You keep talking about wanting to get through this place. You hear guys say that if you want to run well here, you sort of have to come to an agreement, learn to like it, and then that sort of thing. How difficult is it to get to that point, though?
After it kind of keeps kicking your butt, it's kind of hard to get to that point. But, this year is completely different than last year. Coming here, last year we were struggling, and it just seemed like the ball was dropping everywhere that we went, and something would go wrong. And, last year we had a brake failure and had a big wreck. So, I look at it, it's in the back of your mind that, like, for me, I've never had a great run here. But at the same point, I do enjoy the place. I enjoy driving it, and this year's completely different than when we were last year. So I'm excited about it, but, it's for me, it's always there. You got to have a good run, but, there's been several places like that for us that we've been able to go to and have a good run and kind of just get out of there with a decent run. I mean, Talladega, we were running good all day, and we finished 11th. That's a place that I've never had a good run there. So you just got to have a good attitude about it. But for me, I mean, I do know it's a tough place to tame, but I'm ready to get on the racetrack. I mean, ultimately, it's all about just getting there and getting on the racetrack and seeing where you're at.